Hello, my name is David Daoud. I am President and Principal Analyst at Compliance Standards LLC, a strategic advisory and research firm that focuses on the IT asset disposition sector, or ITAD. Today, I am pleased to announce the official opening of the ITAD Academy platform, built exclusively to meet the educational needs of the professionals who are involved in handling the disposition of IT and electronic equipment on behalf of their organizations. Whether you are in IT management, procurement, or sourcing, whether you're an ESG expert or working in various departments that touch the ITAD sector, such as finance, legal facilities, or in any other function with full or partial responsibility over ITAM and ITAD, this platform is for you, and it is free. But why do we think that the ITAD Academy is important? Well, consider the skill set needed to engineer an ITAD program, deploy it, execute it, and monitor it. The tasks and knowledge involved in the decommissioning and disposal phase of IT equipment are some of the most difficult and most demanding tasks, requiring different skill sets to meet four goals. 1, protect the company from data breaches. 2, shield it against illegal environmental actions. 3, ensure that it is done with minimal disruption to business. And finally, 4, do all of the above within a well-planned financial structure. Now, these tasks, of course, require much more complex skills than what we see taking place today in US enterprises in general. In fact, Compliance Standards research found that 72 to 75% of US organizations rely solely on their IT departments to handle IT asset disposition. And although this may be normal, given that IT departments own those assets in most parts, we found that those handling this function do not have the prerequisite skills to manage ITAD properly. In an ideal world, companies would have a special job title, such as an ITAD analyst, to become the champion of that function, ideally housed within the IT department. Well, such an analyst would be tasked to bring all of the key stakeholders together to help shape a world-class ITAD program. But since most companies do not have such a job function, the ITAD Academy is here to help fill the knowledge gap by bringing lectures and interviews of top experts and transform their contribution into structured courses to enhance the practice of ITAD. So the first question to ask is, why should we care about it? Well, the cradle-to-grave life cycle of IT assets encompasses the entire span of IT asset management, from its initial acquisition to its final disposal. The life cycle of assets is divided into 6 distinct phases, each characterized by specific activities and processes. They are planning and acquisition, deployment and installation, operations and maintenance, optimization, renewal and upgradation, and finally decommissioning and disposal. Although each of these 6 ITAM functions are extremely important, perhaps the most intensive ones are Phase 1 and Phase 6. In Phase 1, which is about planning and acquisition, that requires rigorous understanding of technology requirements that would have a direct impact on the company's strategic goals and long-term vision. Indeed, entire industries rely heavily on technology for their core business, from financial services to manufacturing. Understanding the ecosystem of vendors and products and companies competing to be your supplier is very important as well. It's labor-intensive, it's technically demanding because the choices made by procurement experts will determine how productive your company will be in the next several years. Choice of technology is critical to ensure that said technology fits the company's or the business in its short, medium, and long-term strategies. But perhaps even more impactful is the 6th phase, that is the decommissioning phase and the disposal period, or ITAD, because it's no longer just about IT. Yet, that function has been largely trivialized. IT departments often see the ITAD function as an orphaned function. Some of the best companies in the world have neglected ITAD, largely because they just don't understand the consequences of bad ITAD practices. They generally spend an enormous amount of money on IT, on procurement, and on managing those assets, but not so much on handling the decommissioning and the end of life. Here is perhaps one of the most extreme manifestations of such a neglect. Morgan Stanley is one of the most cited cases of an ITAD program gone wrong from 2016 to 2019. It picked the wrong partner to handle its ITAD program, ended up losing assets, and experienced devastating data breaches, exposing its customers' information. It's now facing more than $160 million in fine and counting. But here's another piece of information that supports my argument about this. In 2019, in fact every year really, Morgan Stanley's IT budget has been in the billions of dollars. While Morgan Stanley considered technology to be a critical component of its operations and part of a broad strategy to maintain and develop its technological edge over competition in the financial services industry, the sixth phase of ITAM, that is IT asset disposition, has been utterly neglected, and that is a problem. Why is it a problem? Well, managing an efficient ITAD program should reach the four goals that I've stated earlier. First, it's about preventing data security breaches. IT departments understand the importance of cybersecurity, for example, but they may not have the proper knowledge and procedures to ensure that data security is also properly handled at the decommissioning phase. That phase required at least a moderate understanding of general privacy laws and laws that regulate various vertical sectors, such as finance and healthcare. This is not the job of your standard IT manager. Additional skills are needed to at least make assumptions about data security during the retirement phase. Secondly, the same can be said about environmental controls. In the entire ITAM discipline, ITAD is undoubtedly the most vulnerable phase when it comes to environmental breaches. No one ITAM phase is more exposed to the environmental risk than ITAD. This is because in ITAD, IT assets end up going into destinations that could have a real environmental impact if not controlled. IT managers are not trained to understand that environmental aspects of ITAD at a time when their companies are making public pledges about their own ESG performances. Thirdly, it's critical that the ITAD program runs smoothly from an operational standpoint, with no disruptions to the company's business. Operations include engaging with third-party staffs to physically remove assets from facilities, performing on-site data destruction, ensuring safe and secure transportation to treatment centers, and ensuring that data center decommissioning is done without any glitches, etc. IT managers are not trained to plan these steps. Finally, it costs money, and understanding your financial options is critical to ensuring that your ITAD program does not go over budget. For instance, an ITAD analyst will have to face critical choices of what to do with the retired assets. Do you sell them on the secondary market? Do you reuse them internally in form of asset cascading? Do you donate them to charity, etc.? All of that is bound to have implications on your budget and ITAD program cost, and IT managers are not trained to deal with the complexity of such tasks. So, the ITAD Academy is here to help answer these questions and more, and to offer you the opportunity to learn about the various aspects of ITAD. It offers peers benchmarking, coming from the surveys and research we perform. We invite some of the brightest experts to share their knowledge. We turn that knowledge into courses. Students can then select to test their knowledge and comprehension through voluntary quizzes. In this early stage, we are launching our first ITAD Analyst Certificate. This is the most comprehensive course to date. To find out more, look for a course titled The Fundamentals of Enterprise IT Asset Disposition and enroll today. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you soon at the ITAD.Academy.